Hello again, I am Blunty, and that there is, of course, Twitch plays Pokemon. They're actually playing Pokemon Crystal at the moment, because after 16 days of playing Pokemon Red, I actually beat it. Billions of people and just countless hours of random stuff, and they managed to beat it. How they got through the Safari Zone, I don't even know. I really need to look up, see if someone recorded that, because that would have been something to behold. But against all odds, how many people are playing right now? Nearly 50,000 people playing right now. More than that at any one time. I think the most I ever saw when I dropped in on it from time to time was 80,000 people all playing Pokemon at the same time. And they somehow managed to beat it, which is incredible. And now they've moved on to Pokemon Crystal. I think this is hard evidence, Nintendo, that people really, I mean, it's not too much of a stretch to say, I think, that people really want a Pokemon online MMO RPG, massively multiplayer online RPG thingy, whatever the acronym stands for. I get too confused these days with all these acronyms floating about. LOL, JK. But anyway, I was just sitting on the couch doing some bits and pieces, and I had this scrolling in the background, looking out from time to time, and it suddenly occurred to me that this is the first time a Nintendo game has ever been this popular online. I mean, this is the first successful online Nintendo game that's ever happened, and it's... How old is Pokemon Crystal now? 16, 17 years? No, the first one was 19 years, so that must be 15, 16 years old by now, I think. That's kind of timely too, because Pokemon itself just turned 18. 18 years ago, and a couple of days, Pokemon Red and Pokemon Green first released in Japan. And it's a hell of a milestone. In Australia, Pokemon can drink now. And it's legal for it to do other stuff, if you want to get really creepy about it. I'm just Japanese game, so there are creepy avenues to explore there. There's probably a pun to do with exploring creepy avenues as well. Moving on. This is going to be one fucking disjointed video blog. I should have made a plan or something. But the point I'm trying to drive at here eventually is that ever since Pokemon first came out, or thereabouts, well, maybe ever since like Pokemon Ruby era, when online gaming started to get more and more popular, there have been calls for a huge, 3D rendered Pokemon game, and we kind of got that with Pokemon Colosseum, which I loved, by the way. You couldn't catch any wild Pokemon in there, and it was a very sort of on-rails kind of story mode, but the story mode was compelling, and it was a wonderful adventure, and a terrific game to this day, and I've just been fiddling around with an emulator the other day, as a matter of fact, just out of pure curiosity, going back to it, see how well it holds up, and I think I'm going to go for an entire playthrough again on Colosseum, because it's just fun. And when that came out, people got even hungrier for an online, massively multiplayer online Pokemon game where we could just free roam around this world and come across other live, real-world trainers and have sort of on-the-spot battles there and then, instead of having to link up and then get friend codes and then do all that crazy, stupid bullshit that Nintendo have made us go through for all these years. And with the success of Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, Pokemon has become fresh and interesting again. They've gone some way in that game, that's fully 3D rendered and it looks beautifully. It's one of the prettiest games I've played on the 3DS ever, actually. And people are crying out once again, well, why can't we have that game but online? Or maybe make a Pokemon online game for the Wii U and then give people a reason to switch on their fucking Wii U's, because God knows we haven't had one. We're going to have one soon with Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, but those are two quick bash games. You jump on and you play for 10, 15 minutes and you put it away, because those are the kind of games they are. But what about a game that absorbs you? Where's the World of fucking Warcraft for Pokemon, really, is what we're asking. And you try and play devil's advocate for Nintendo, and you try and think of the reasons why there hasn't been an online Pokemon game, a properly, fully MMO online Pokemon game to this date, and Nintendo always kid-friendly, and Pokemon started off as a kids franchise. That's where they got us hooked in. But that excuse doesn't really stand up too much these days. I mean, there are people like me who are in their sort of mid-20s to mid-30s, that sort of area there. We grew up on Pokemon. We're adults now. We're ready for a more adult game. We can deal with the trolls and the ganking and stuff that happens in MMOs. We can handle that. Just give us an adult tilted, well, not an adult Pokemon game, but a mature Pokemon game that sort of mixes somewhere between the graphics and the gameplay style of Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, with blending with Pokemon Colosseum, somewhere in between that, and have just a huge world of all the different continents and areas and regions that we've seen in other Pokemon games. And it would be wonderful, don't you think? I mean, what would your dream online Pokemon game consist of? Drop a comment, let us know. You know, what recipe from the 18 years of Pokemon that we've had, what would you mix in that fucking bowl to make your ultimate online Pokemon game that we will never ever get because Nintendo hate us? And coming all the way back to the point I started on, that right there is proof positive that there are a whole bunch of people out there who have such love for Pokemon and they're so hungry for a fresh, interesting twist on the Pokemon experience. And as bizarre a social experiment as this is, and I'm not saying, you know, Pokemon should publish this game and just have everyone controlling a singular character. That's crazy. This is a very, very interesting social experiment in behavioral studies and things like that. And I'm sure someone out there is writing a fucking thesis paper on it right now. I wouldn't blame them. It's really interesting to see what's going on with this and all the lore that has grown up around it and the faux religions and amazing backstories and names of characters. It's brilliant. I mean, go Google for a resource to find out sort of the whole background of this thing, and it's unbelievably complex and amazing and beautiful and hideous and crazy, but wonderful at the same time. That's grown out of this Twitch Plays Pokemon experiment. And I'm almost upset that Pokemon X and Y did so well. I'm overjoyed because that means there'll be more money poured into the Pokemon franchise and we'll get more and more Pokemon stuff, because I love Pokemon and I have done almost all of its existence. I started out hating it and mocking it because I had a friend who played it and he was like 17 at the time. You're playing a children's game, that's idiotic. You're watching children's cartoons, that's stupid. And then I played the game and I went, oh, I get it now. And I went out the next day and I bought a copy of Pokemon Red and I bought a brand new Game Boy Color to play it on. Game Boy Pocket, actually, I think it was at the time. Was that before? I don't remember exactly what the timing was on that. But anyway, the point remains clear. Ever since, you know, the first Pokemon games, I've been a fan, and I've played all of the core RPGs ever since then, and quite a few of the satellite games around it. I have a deep love for Pokemon. It's part of my culture, my gaming heritage. This Pokemon is where it's at, and I'm deeply, deeply, deeply hungry for a Pokemon game, like I said, somewhere between Pokemon X and Pokemon Colosseum, that sort of art style sort of meshed together, make it modern, make all the areas available, make it online so I can wander around in this world on my little quest, and then I come across, you know, other online players from time to time, like they did in Fable III, I think they did. You could run across other players who were online at the same time, and you can either choose to battle them or not and walk on. And was it Fable III? I'm getting confused again. I know some games have done that, just mixed in that incidental online world as you're playing through the single-player experience as well. And you do this on the Wii U, and you just might save the friggin' system altogether. How many of you would buy a Wii U if it had the multiplayer online Pokemon experience on it? Hell of a lot of you, I would wager. It would give me an excuse to turn mine on again. I mean, Pokemon doesn't need to be portable. It just doesn't. I played almost the entirety of Pokemon X sitting on my ass on the couch or in my bed, both places where I can play with my Wii U. Or here's an even better idea: make a new region in the Pokemon Online game and then release DLC packs for the other regions. You wouldn't pay $20 to get access to Kanto again and Johto and Aura, and, you know, at $20 a pop for those DLC packs, entire new maps, entire new single-player portions of the core story that feed into one another and roll on. And, you know, it's a cash cow sitting there waiting to be milked. But just, what's stopping you, Nintendo? Are you too afraid of people going online and being mean to each other? But that happens. Get used to it. You got to do something. Anyway, that's my incredibly disjointed, off the top of my head, complete ramblings to the Pokemon, because I was just sitting on the couch watching this and thinking about it. And I thought, I need to say these things out loud to get them off my head so I can actually do other stuff with my brain today, which I won't. By the way, I think I'll just go get a case of beer and get hammered, because, you know, I can't really be effed doing anything else today. Maybe bourbon. Thanks for watching. I am Blunty. I will catch you next time. Drop a comment and let me know what I asked before, your recipe for the ideal Pokemon online game experience. What system, you know, what worlds, what will you bring in from the different games, because they've all sort of fiddled with the system just a little bit, and some things have been dropped and some things have been kept alive throughout the entire run of them. And, you know, let me know what your recipe is for this idealized Pokemon online game. See ya.